The unexpected encounter. The massive drilling platform shuddered as another chunk of ice broke free from the asteroid's surface. Marcus Chen wiped the sweat from his brow and checked his readings one more time. The numbers looked good. Better than expected, actually. Titan Mining Corporation would be pleased with this week's harvest. Marcus had been working in the asteroid belt for 12 years now, ever since he graduated from the Mars Engineering Institute. What started as a temporary assignment had become his life's work. There was something peaceful about the vast emptiness of space, broken only by the steady hum of mining equipment and the occasional chatter from his crew. The year was 2157 and humanity had spread across the solar system like seeds carried by cosmic winds. Mars housed 3 billion people. The moon had become a bustling trade hub, and hundreds of mining operations dotted the asteroid belt. Yet despite all their expansion, humans had never encountered another intelligent species. They were alone among the stars, or so they believed. Marcus's communication device crackled to life. "Boss, you need to see this," came the voice of Jake Morrison, his mining foreman. Jake was a rough man from the outer colonies, someone who had learned to fix anything with spare parts and determination. "What is it, Jake?" Marcus asked, setting down his tools. "Energy readings are off the charts. Something big is happening about 20 clicks from here. You better come take a look." Marcus made his way to the command center of their mining station. The Prometheus, their cargo vessel, was docked nearby under the command of Captain Elena Vasquez. Elena was a former military pilot who had joined the mining operation after retiring from the Earth Defense Force. Her experience with combat situations would prove more valuable than anyone could have imagined. In the command center, Dr. Sarah Kim was bent over a computer terminal, her face illuminated by streams of data. Sarah was their xenobiologist and communication specialist, brought aboard primarily to study the unique microorganisms they sometimes found in asteroid samples. Her real expertise would soon become crucial in ways none of them expected. "Marcus, look at this," Sarah said, pointing to her screen. "These energy signatures don't match anything in our databases. They're too organized, too purposeful to be natural phenomena." Captain Vasquez studied the readings over Sarah's shoulder. "Those look like weapon signatures to me. High-energy plasma discharge, rapid-fire patterns. Someone's fighting out there." Marcus felt his heart rate increase. "Someone? Are we talking about other humans?" "No," Sarah said quietly. "The energy patterns are completely alien. This is first contact, Marcus. We're not alone." Through the observation deck windows, they could see flashes of light in the distance. Bright bursts of energy appeared and disappeared like lightning in a cosmic storm. Whatever was happening out there, it was violent and intense. Jake Morrison joined them, still wearing his worksuit covered in asteroid dust. "Should we run? I mean, if there's a space battle going on, maybe we should get out of here." Captain Vasquez shook her head. "The Prometheus isn't built for long-distance travel. We're a cargo hauler, not a racing ship. Besides, they might have already detected us." As if summoned by her words, their long-range sensors detected something approaching. A sleek silver vessel tumbled through space, trailing plasma and debris. It was clearly damaged and moving erratically. "It's heading right for us," Sarah reported, "and there are 3 larger ships in pursuit." Marcus watched the drama unfold on their screens. The smaller ship was fast but wounded, while its pursuers were massive and bristling with weapons. Even from this distance, it was clear which side was winning. "They're going to destroy it," Elena said grimly. "Whatever's happening out there, we're about to witness an execution." Marcus found himself making a decision that would change everything. "No, we're not. Jake, power up the mining lasers. Elena, prepare the Prometheus for emergency launch." "Are you crazy?" Jake stared at him. "We're miners, not soldiers." "We're humans," Marcus replied simply, "and someone needs help." The next few minutes passed in a blur of activity. Captain Vasquez fired up the Prometheus while Marcus and Jake modified their mining equipment for combat. Mining lasers designed to cut through asteroid rock could certainly damage a spacecraft. Their cargo hauler wasn't fast, but it was tough, built to withstand asteroid impacts and cosmic radiation. The damaged alien ship continued its desperate flight toward their position. As it drew closer, they could see it more clearly. The vessel was beautiful in its own way, with flowing lines and a surface that seemed to shimmer like liquid metal. It was clearly the product of an advanced civilization. The pursuing ships were different, angular and brutal-looking. They moved with predatory grace, slowly closing the distance to their prey. These were warships, designed for one purpose only. "This is insane," Jake muttered as he aligned the mining laser array. "We're about to pick a fight with aliens using equipment meant for breaking rocks." "Sometimes that's all you need," Marcus replied, settling into the gunner's position. "Elena, take us in." The Prometheus accelerated toward the conflict zone. Their cargo hauler wasn't graceful, but it was solid and reliable. As they approached, the alien pursuers seemed to notice them for the first time. The three warships paused in their attack, apparently confused by this new arrival. Marcus opened fire with the mining lasers. Brilliant beams of coherent light lanced out across space, striking the nearest alien warship. The mining lasers, designed to cut through the toughest asteroids, carved deep gouges in the enemy vessel's hull. The alien warships immediately changed their focus from the fleeing ship to this new threat. Energy bolts began raining down on the Prometheus, but Elena's piloting skills kept them moving using the asteroid field for cover. "The damaged ship is trying to communicate," Sarah called out over the sound of weapons fire. "I'm getting audio signals, but I can't understand the language." "Keep trying," Marcus shouted back, firing another volley at the alien attackers. One of their shots found something vital, and the enemy ship began venting atmosphere. The battle continued for what felt like hours but was probably only minutes. The human mining equipment, crude by comparison to alien technology, proved surprisingly effective. Jake's modifications to their cargo containers allowed them to launch chunks of asteroid as improvised missiles. Finally, the alien warships withdrew. Perhaps they had underestimated this strange new enemy, or perhaps they simply didn't consider the fight worth their losses. The three vessels disappeared into the darkness as suddenly as they had arrived. In the aftermath, the damaged silver ship drifted nearby, still leaking plasma but no longer under attack. Sarah worked frantically at her communication equipment, trying to establish contact with whoever was aboard. When determination meets ingenuity, 3 weeks later, the edge of the solar system erupted in brilliant flashes of light as the Thraxian fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. High Commander Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Devastator, and surveyed the pathetic system before him. 5 rocky planets, a few gas giants, and the small yellow star that held it all together. It was hardly worth conquering, but the Thraxians had learned never to ignore potential threats. Tiwin, report from his advanced scouts had been disturbing. Some primitive species had dared to interfere with Thraxian operations, actually managing to damage 3 of his warships. Such insolence could not be tolerated. The galaxy needed to understand that the Thraxian Empire was supreme. "Commander," reported his tactical officer, "we are detecting numerous artificial structures throughout the system. These humans appear to have colonized multiple worlds and asteroid mining operations." High Commander Vex was a veteran of dozens of conquests. His gray-scaled skin bore the scars of many battles, and his forearms moved with practiced efficiency as he reviewed the tactical displays. The Thraxians had evolved from a reptilian species on a harsh world, and their culture reflected that origin. Only the strong survived, only the ruthless thrived. "How many warships do they possess?" Vex inquired. "Our sensors detect no military vessels of significant capability, Commander. They appear to be primarily a mining and trading civilization. The ships that attacked our scouts were converted cargo haulers using industrial equipment as weapons." Vex's lipless mouth curved in what might have been a smile. "Pathetic. Still, they showed courage in rescuing our Zalari quarry. I will offer them one chance to surrender before we begin the extermination." Meanwhile, throughout the solar system, humanity was preparing for war in the most human way possible. Marcus Chen stood in the main hangar of Ceres Station, the largest asteroid mining facility in the belt. Around him, hundreds of workers were modifying every piece of equipment they could get their hands on. Jake Morrison was in his element, directing teams of engineers as they converted mining ships into improvised warships. "Remember, we don't need to be pretty, we just need to work," he called out to his crews. "If it can cut through rock, it can cut through alien hull plating." Dr. Sarah Kim had established a communication network with the Zalari refugees scattered throughout the system. Ambassador Kith and his people were providing intelligence about Thraxian tactics and technology. The picture they painted was daunting but not hopeless. Captain Elena Vasquez was coordinating with every cargo hauler, mining vessel, and transport ship in the system. The human fleet wouldn't win any beauty contests, but it would be the largest collection of spacecraft ever assembled under human command. "Marcus," Elena approached him in the hangar. "The Thraxian fleet has 53 major warships, each one capable of destroying a city. Are you sure about this plan?" Marcus looked up from the mining laser he was calibrating. "Elena, what's the first rule of asteroid mining?" She thought for a moment. "Use every resource available?" "Exactly. We're not trying to outgun them or out-technology them. We're going to outthink them and outstubborn them." The Thraxian fleet moved steadily through the solar system, expecting either immediate surrender or token resistance. What they encountered, instead, was something unprecedented in their centuries of conquest. The first indication that something was unusual came when their forward scouts reported massive objects moving through space. Asteroids, some as large as small moons, were being systematically repositioned throughout the solar system. "What are they doing?" High Commander Vex demanded as he studied the tactical displays. His science officer, a younger Thraxian named Crit, worked frantically at his instruments. "Commander, the humans appear to be using their mining equipment to move asteroids into new orbits. They're creating a maze of obstacles between us and their populated worlds." Vex dismissed this with a wave of one of his forearms. "Irrelevant. Our ships can easily navigate around such crude obstacles." But as the Thraxian fleet advanced, they discovered that the humans had done much more than simply move rocks around. Each asteroid had been equipped with mining charges, turning them into massive improvised mines. The first Thraxian warship, to attempt passage through the asteroid field, triggered a chain reaction that sent thousands of tons of rock and metal flying in all directions. "Damage report," Vex commanded as his flagship shook from the impacts. "Minor hull damage, Commander, but the explosion has blocked our direct route to their inner planets. We'll need to navigate around the debris field." As they began to do exactly that, the second part of the human plan revealed itself. Hidden among the regular asteroids were human mining ships, their energy signatures masked by the surrounding rock. When the Thraxian fleet came within range, dozens of mining lasers opened, fire simultaneously. The Thraxians were caught completely off guard. Their tactical doctrine was based on fighting other military forces with predictable behaviors and conventional weapons. They had never faced an enemy that turned the environment itself into a weapon. "Return fire," Vex ordered, but his gunners found themselves shooting at targets that disappeared behind asteroids as quickly as they appeared. The humans were using the asteroid field like a three-dimensional maze, striking and then vanishing before retaliation was possible. For 6 hours, the battle raged through the asteroid belt. Thraxian superior technology was negated by human ingenuity and intimate knowledge of their home territory. Every mining station, every cargo hauler, every maintenance ship had been converted into part of the defensive network. But it was Jake Morrison who provided the moment that would become legend. His small mining ship, jury-rigged with the most powerful mining laser in the belt, managed to slip through the Thraxian formation undetected. Instead of attacking their ships, he did something completely unexpected. Jake positioned his ship directly in front of the Thraxian flagship and opened a communication channel. His weathered face appeared on the main screen of the Devastator, causing shocked silence on the Thraxian bridge. "You Vex?" Jake asked in his casual outer colonies drawl. High Commander Vex was so surprised by the directness of the communication that he actually responded. "I am High Commander Vex of the Thraxian Empire. You will surrender immediately or face annihilation." Jake scratched his stubbled chin thoughtfully. "Yeah, about that. See, we've got a problem. You folks came into our system uninvited, threatened our people, and generally made nuisances of yourselves. Now, where I come from, that's considered rude behavior." Your species is inferior, Vex snarled. You will submit to Thraxian authority, or be destroyed. Jake's expression didn't change. Here's the thing, Commander. You might have fancier ships and bigger guns, but you've made one crucial mistake. What mistake could you possibly? You picked a fight with humans who said they'd handle it. Before Vex could respond, Jake's ship opened fire with its mining laser at point-blank range. The beam, designed to cut through the hardest asteroids, sliced through the Devastator's forward shields like they weren't there. Alarms began wailing throughout the Thraxian flagship. But Jake wasn't finished. You see, Commander, humans have this weird habit. When we say we're going to do something, we do it. When someone threatens our people, we take it personally. And when someone tells us we can't win, Jake's grin was visible even across the communication link. Well, that's when we get really stubborn. The mining laser continued its work, carving deep into the Devastator's hull. Other human ships, inspired by Jake's bold move, began converging on the Thraxian formation from all directions. High Commander Vex realized he was facing something he had never encountered before in decades of conquest. These humans weren't fighting like a military force. They were fighting like a swarm of angry insects, each one willing to sacrifice itself to protect the hive. More disturbing was their apparent disregard for conventional tactics. They used cargo, containers as kinetic weapons, mining charges as guided missiles, and industrial equipment in ways no military strategist had ever imagined. Commander, his tactical officer reported, we're taking damage from multiple vectors. These humans are attacking with everything they have. Our weapon systems are designed for ship-to-ship combat, not for defending against swarms of modified mining equipment. Vex watched as a human cargo hauler rammed one of his destroyers, both ships exploding in a brilliant fireball. The human pilot had clearly known it was a suicide mission but had proceeded anyway. Status of our fleet? Vex demanded. 7 ships destroyed, 15 with significant damage. The humans are losing more vessels, but they seem willing to accept any casualty rate necessary. For the first time in his military career, High Commander Vex felt something he had almost forgotten: uncertainty. The Thraxians had conquered dozens of species, but they had always faced conventional resistance. Armies that could be defeated, governments that could be negotiated with, civilizations that valued survival above all else. These humans were different. They fought with a desperate creativity that turned every tool into a weapon, every obstacle into an advantage. They didn't seem to care about odds or conventional military wisdom. They had simply decided to fight, and nothing was going to change their minds. The final straw came when Marcus Chen himself appeared on the communication channel. His voice was calm and reasonable, which somehow made his words even more chilling. High Commander Vex, this is Marcus Chen of the Titan Mining Corporation. I believe you're the one responsible for threatening our solar system. Vex composed himself, trying to project the authority that had cowed 100 worlds. Your resistance is admirable but futile, human. Surrender now and some of your people may be allowed to live as servants of the Empire. Marcus was quiet for a moment, and when he spoke, his voice carried the weight of absolute conviction. Commander, I think there's been a misunderstanding. We're not trying to negotiate with you. We're not trying to make a deal or find a compromise. We told you we'd handle this situation, and that's exactly what we're doing. You cannot possibly believe you can defeat the entire Thraxian fleet with mining equipment. Commander, let me explain something about humans. We're the species that looked at the sky and decided we belonged there. We're the people who saw deadly radiation and figured out how to use it for power. When our ancestors found a continent full of hostile wilderness, they didn't turn back. They built cities. Marcus paused, and Vex could hear weapons fire in the background of the transmission. You want to know what we're going to do? We're going to keep fighting with whatever we have until you leave our system. If you destroy our ships, we'll ram you with asteroids. If you take our weapons, we'll throw rocks. If you think you can outlast us, you're about to learn that humans are the most stubborn species in the galaxy. The truth of those words became evident over the next several hours. No matter how many human ships the Thraxians destroyed, more appeared. Cargo haulers, mining vessels, even personal transports had been pressed into service. Each loss seemed to make the remaining humans fight harder rather than discouraging them. High Commander Vex found himself in an impossible situation. His fleet was taking casualties in a battle that made no strategic sense. The humans were clearly outmatched, but they refused to acknowledge that fact. They just kept coming, kept fighting, kept turning every piece of equipment in their system into another weapon. Finally, as the Devastator shuddered under another barrage of mining laser fire, Vex made a decision that would echo throughout Thraxian military history. All ships withdraw to the edge of the system. Commander? His tactical officer looked shocked. We can still win this battle. Our losses are manageable. Vex looked at the tactical display showing the swarming mass of human ships, each one crewed by beings who had apparently decided that death was preferable to surrender. Can we? How many more ships are you willing to lose fighting miners and cargo haulers? How do we explain to the Empire that we suffered significant casualties conquering a species that fights with industrial equipment? The Thraxian fleet began its withdrawal, and the humans did something even more unsettling. They didn't pursue. They simply watched as the alien warships departed as if they had never doubted the outcome. As the Devastator reached the edge of the solar system, High Commander Vex received one final communication from Marcus Chen. Commander, you're welcome to return anytime you want to discuss peaceful relations. But if you come back with hostile intentions, remember what happened here today. Humans keep their promises. When we say we'll handle something, we handle it. The Thraxian fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving the solar system behind. In the aftermath, Ambassador Kith and his Zalari refugees could hardly believe what they had witnessed. How? Kith asked Sarah Kim as they watched the last Thraxian ship disappear. How did you defeat a force that had conquered half the galaxy? Sarah looked around at the collection of modified mining ships and cargo haulers that made up humanity's victorious fleet. Ambassador, we didn't defeat them with superior technology or better tactics. We defeated them with something much simpler. What was that? Sarah smiled as she watched Marcus Chen's ship drift past, its hull scarred from battle but its crew intact. We defeated them with the most human thing of all. When someone told us we couldn't do something, we did it anyway. News of the battle spread throughout the galaxy faster than light itself. The Thraxian Empire, which had seemed unstoppable, had been turned back by a species armed with mining equipment and absolute determination. Other civilizations that had been conquered or threatened by the Thraxians began to whisper about these. Humans who had said they would handle it and had done exactly that. Marcus Chen returned to his work on the asteroid mining platforms, but the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had announced its presence not with diplomacy or grand gestures, but with the simple confidence of people who meant what they said. When humans whispered, "Leave it to me," entire fleets had indeed backed down. And across the stars, other species began to understand that sometimes the most powerful weapon of all is the quiet certainty of someone who refuses to give up.